Hey guys, Jonathan Hitchcock here again with Custom Craftsman Woodworking. Hey, if you do woodworking for any amount of time, you're going to run into this dilemma right here. This is a panel that I glued up about 48 hours ago, and it's been sitting, and there is glue squeeze out all over it in all of the seams. So as best as I can tell, there are three options for cleaning up glue squeeze out. The first is the one that I started out doing when I began woodworking, and that was to take like a wet sponge or a wet rag, and after clamping things up, you just wipe those seams with a little bit of water and try and clean them up as best as you can. The second option is to let it sit for like 20-30 minutes and then come with like a putty knife or some sort of plastic scraper or whatever you use to clear off that glue. Just starts to get tacky, and so it's not so liquidy, and you can kind of scrape it off that way. The third option is what I have here, where you let it sit for however long and it cures fully, which is what happened in my case here. That's actually what I do pretty much every time now. And the reason, there's pros and cons to each option. I stopped doing the one where you clean it with water because I did have a few pieces where actually I did that, and I think I got some, I ended up spreading some glue into the wood fibers around my joints. And then when I went to finish, you see that that glue kind of show through. It kind of ruins your piece there at the end. You have to go back and sand quite a bit more to get through those layers of glue that are in the wood. So the safest option for me, and the most convenient, honestly, is just to wait. I have tried the whole like 20-30 minute thing and then come back. That works. The problem is, I don't know if you can see, but I got clamps all over on this panel right here. And so trying to fit the knife in between, I can't get underneath my pipe clamps very well. And I don't want to like move it because I'm afraid I'll shift things around. And so I end up just waiting for the full like 24 hours or whatever. The next day I'll come back, it's fully hardened, and let me show you what I do to get rid of it now. So step one is just to unclamp everything and get your panel ready for glue scrape off on your bench. Step two, I just take a piece of, this is 320 sandpaper, and I'll just rub it flat here, and then take the back side, put it right on that edge. And you want to keep your chisel, I'll do this 2 or 3 times throughout the scrape off just to get a really sharp edge. And that is razor sharp right now. I don't know if you can see, but whittle some hair there. So after you've sharpened your chisel here, the big fear that people have, I think, of using a chisel, and why some say that there's better tools, which there very might well be, I just don't own them currently. But the big fear is that you get tear out on your seam, and that can absolutely happen. I get that sometimes in the last project I did. I had a tear out in a shelf, and I had to fill it with a little bit of stuff because my chisel just tore some of the wood fibers. And so a couple things that you can do to kind of I've found that can minimize that and try and help. The first is, even though that all these boards were the exact same thickness, they all went through the planer and came off the exact same 3/4 of an inch. When I glue them up, there are going to be just slight variations, and one at the seam, one's going to be a little bit higher than the other. So you always want to be, from what I've found, I always want to put my chisel on the side that's a little bit a step up, because then I'm going down off instead of going into the step up. And when I go into something, that's when I get a little bit of a tear out. I also just kind of take my time as I go. The hardest part of the whole thing is at the very beginning. And this one's going to be even harder because I got a little bit of like live edge almost right here, some different kind of wood there. So we'll see if that cooperates with us. But if I can get started, so I can see right here, this board is just slightly higher than the other one. So I'm going to start on this side and just kind of get going. And I'm not going crazy at all, because if something does start to chip out, I just stop and minimize it, obviously. But But now, yeah, so now they're pretty even right now. So I'll kind of go at an angle here and go along. And you can see it comes off pretty cleanly. This side is definitely higher up now, so I'm going to stay over here and work my way down. And then when I get down to the finish here, a little trickier again. Take my time, make sure I don't grab any. I'm not putting a lot of downward pressure onto the chisel at this point because I don't want it to dig. I'll show you. When I get to something like this, I'll actually put quite a bit of pressure down and I can get kind of a card scraper kind of effect, just to make sanding that much easier. Now, all along here, where this glue is just a hair below, I'll actually come to that side of the glue line and I just run the corner of my chisel into that little valley, that little step. This is where a bar clamp was lying here. This is the underside, so I didn't put wax paper down here. Come on. There we go. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. And I'll lift that off, and then I can come back on the glue line and just go gently along it and make sure not to tear anything out. I might have to do that a couple times, but I'm just trying to get it, that's pretty good, get it cleaned up so that sanding is much easier. That cooperated all right. I don't want to spend too much time on this live edge stuff here because it feels a little bit softer. And there you go. That's one. I got 7 on this one. So I'll do one more here for you and I'll shut up and just show you kind of what I do. So right there was a perfect example. It's higher up all on this side, and then coming over here it got higher. So I had to kind of quickly switch. Right here it's perfect, and that's where the chisel works great. But if one edge is higher, you always want to be on the higher one. Otherwise, I'll be digging into this, and that's how I get some ugly chip out. So you got to kind of pay attention. Just kind of clean this all up. All right, there you have it, guys. Ready for some sanding. That's my favorite method, guys. Hope that helps.